Welcome back to the Viral Ideas podcast. If you're a first-time viewer, welcome. We're at the intersection of the content marketing and entrepreneurship. Today, we share 3 net new ideas for free, and you may potentially make millions.
Yeah, we talked about some stuff like how to make millions by selling a ChatGPT wrapper to the government. Believe it or not, that's possible. Also, ways that you could go viral by putting on Raves, particularly SpongeBob Raves. We also talked about with our guest Sara how to make the world's most expensive ad blocker that people would actually pay for. We brought on this guest, Sara, have a ton of experience in the marketing world, but also with NGOs and charities. Super exciting episode for everybody today. Let's get into it, man.
Yeah, I'm already excited. Let's do it.
It's the Viral Ideas Podcast with Josh and Runda.
All right, Josh, we don't have all day. What's your first idea?
So check this out. This is the global translation services market. It's worth about $42.2 billion annually. So yeah, whatever. That's a big number. Second of all, everybody's talking about DeepSeek and Grok and all these open source models. It's obviously a big deal. When I was scrolling just on YouTube maybe a couple weeks ago, saw that you can actually run like one of the lower end versions of DeepSeek R1 on a Raspberry Pi, which if any viewers don't know what a Raspberry Pi is, that's like one of the cheapest computers you can buy. It's an insanely simple little thing. And yeah, it's a little finicky. Like it's probably very early stages of this right now, but this just signals something that's coming. So that kind of had my mind go racing a little bit. And that basically led me to the idea of how could you like really help people, especially that are operating in places that there's also a language barrier. First thing that comes to mind here for me is a remote tourist destination that has a language barrier. So basically, I'm saying that some hacker out there has got to get one of these Raspberry Pis and install the DeepSeek on it, but train it on the specific translation of just one language to another. Because I know you probably couldn't just give it everything. Like, it's probably quite limited. So I'm just going to keep it small with that. Like, let's say we're just translating English to French. And we're going to put this in a remote location in Canada where there's no internet. Google Translate is not an option, and provide that. I think there's kind of 2 applications for it. Like there's kind of the idea, like the obvious one I think is to make the most low cost device and then get it to places where that is just inaccessible and they're probably not going to have the highest budgets. There also could be more of a premium angle to it as well, particularly with aiding organizations that spend time also in these situations. So maybe it's a humanitarian aid organization. Let's say they're, I don't know, going to somewhere in remote West Africa to do some Ebola mission, let's say, and there's no internet there. So they will either have to face like, okay, so we're hiring a translator, or hey, maybe there's a device on the market. It doesn't exist, but like we know, like this is literally so possible. There's nothing stopping this. So maybe a higher end computer that has a good battery attached to it and can also run these translation things using the offline LLM and do that to actually facilitate their operations. So yeah, there's kind of 2 angles to that. There's kind of like the $300 product and then maybe the like $3,000 product. Both are kind of looking to do the same thing though. So yeah, what do you guys think? Like, am I crazy?
I think, at least for my mind, immediately goes when developing this device and then actually selling it and market it, I would probably go towards the end of the government contracts or special programs from organizations that would tackle onto this problem. When I think about this case specifically, UNDP is probably something that immediately comes to mind to at least do some kind of like sales effort or campaign effort to convince the United Nations development programs to buy into like this device as like a solution, as a translation service in underdeveloped communities where they have less literacy in general, and then like the second language literacy is just like not that great. These guys often push out these like requests for proposals, RFP documents, which are supposed to be these cases or problems that they're trying to tackle on, and then but also creating a program and a funding budget for it. Sometimes lobby, or if you just know someone on the inside. Personally, if I don't know anyone on the inside of this organization, I might either do cold email, but better yet, I would probably just serve targeted banner ads of people's profiles that are just like working in the UNDP, whether it's on LinkedIn or Google or Meta ads, and try to get the key target of people who works in this organization and solicit, oh yeah, this is the best, most affordable, cost-effective device for translation systems to help underdeveloped communities. If I'm like a program coordinator or a director that's trying to figure out, okay, where should I stream my budgets to? I might click on that banner ad and then actually book a call with you to figure out, okay, what is this device? Maybe I need a demo, or like maybe I need to buy the first one and just like see how it works, and then explore a little bit more. What do you think, Sarah?
I think it sounds like a really cool idea, but I do think it's pretty complex. For more innovative projects, I think from nonprofit perspective, they don't usually have, that much budget set out for just things that they could try out. In my experience, it's usually like they'll set out a budget that is specific to things that they need done within the year or the next year. And I think to be able to convince like the board of directors in a charity to I guess take on something like this, there would need to be case studies that they could look at.
So are you saying that it's more of like, because it would be for an individual product or for a project, it would be a high expense basically. And like a lot of these organizations, they might not actually have very high like capital expenditure to like invest in like, oh, we want to get this one crazy device that will like aid us over the next 2 years. But like that doesn't necessarily impact like an individual project for them. So then it just might make the approvals impossible, basically.
It really depends if there's a corporate sponsor, or if there's a fund that they could apply to with the government that would maybe make funding accessible to try something like this out. I guess that would make it a little bit more possible. But again, from my experience, when it comes to applying for those types of funds, there's usually a rigorous process that's like, okay, where is this going? What's it going to be used for? What is the benefit of this project? How is this going to actually go to reach the beneficiaries that you're trying to reach? That sort of thing.
In order to actually even get this tested or like get the initial partnership program set out, it needs to be like a collaborative partnership target program that makes social work for these places more efficient, and then have like a rough feasibility assessment. And then number 2, you can stream it in an education angle where like it's making kids learn easier, or learn a second language easier within that local jurisdiction of that developing country. But once you have it's like a whole game of like pushing out these case studies and then showing these feasibility numbers. You're selling to the real audience, a larger international nonprofit like a UNDP, where like they have like endless amount of like funding, but like it's really just a challenge on finding these innovative solutions. Or in the case of government contracts, they've already pushed out this budget in their fiscal balance sheet. And it's just a matter of distributing on to the programs that they've kind of created funding to solve certain solutions for. In Canada, they have something called the Canada's Innovation Challenges, where there's a number of these like organizations, but then it's all realistically all funded by the government. They're constantly looking for just innovative solutions in kind of different areas. Sometimes it's like related to education. Sometimes it could be related to AI or carbon capture. but there's a few of these that goes around every year, and then it cycles new challenges into the following year. I think if someone that keeps an eye out on these challenges, it means that you're getting a defined contract to solve a problem, and then you're just positioning this innovation as a solution, being the puzzle piece to that problem.
Okay, so to sum up what you just said, basically do what Anduril is doing, but like for a much less death and explosions type of purpose.
Yeah. Instead of doing analytics and then in order to figure out where to aim your drone at, but keep the Hawaiian shirt, like the founder.
Yeah, same founder vibe for sure, just different products.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no, that actually makes a lot of sense. I think it would totally be like, because you wouldn't be able to sell it until you prove that it's feasible. So you would probably have to do like one project right off the bat that you have self-funded with the machine that you have built and the software has been trained, and do an initiative with a charity or an NGO as a collaboration, and then make those case studies, and that could get it out. Okay, the idea is less feasible than I thought, because not only would you like building the hardware and the software probably wouldn't be that crazy, because you could probably get like an AI consultant to do this for you realistically. Like it's basically a GPT wrapper with like some extra hardware attached, but it would literally just be a laptop. It would more so be about like just you could just buy things from the store and just throw this together. So like I think it's probably like a $5,000 build for like your first version of it. Once you start talking about these like case studies and the collaborations, like you probably need capital. Like this is probably like in the tens of thousands of dollars to get started now.
Honestly, I still think that tens of thousands of dollars is still relatively approachable. Okay, the initial $5,000 capital, at least like, I'm not sure in the US or everywhere else, but in Canada, at least in Toronto, if you've never started a business before, you're eligible to like apply for this $5,000 grant. That's your prototype cost, all taken care of. And then with this prototype, if you have an actual prototype, all you really need to go to is just like the local pitch competitions to talk about this prototype. You're really just like presenting this prototype and then talking about your pipeline of like where you're planning to go with it, or like the collaborations that you got the letter of intent for to test out this prototype program in the following year or like 6 months from now, and then get some pitch competition capital. Maybe it's like roughly $10,000 if you hit like 5 of these. And then that's your travel cost taken care of to travel around the world to like different developing countries with like nonprofits to test out these programs. I think like it's totally feasible because it's like an innovative solution. It hits all these like innovation factors to get these government grants to also help service the government.
Yeah, no, that's so true. Like for this type of thing, like obviously because of the theme that I kind of went with on this one, like focusing on the humanitarian side of it, and obviously like that combination with, you know, the large language models and all of that. I didn't even consider like this is a very public funding friendly idea. This one is actually for you if you have some level of tech savviness. Like if you know how to make your own GPT wrapper and do it well, like you're basically 80% of the way there already. And yeah, if you're familiar with these grant bodies and getting government funding, then you could probably go pretty far with this one. And
or if you just need a traveling salesman like me, just contact me.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, Runda will go on a trade mission for you. He's available for hire.
I will help you apply for those trade mission grants for me to go outside and be your traveling salesman.
It's actually really funny you mentioned that though, because like those travel for market research grants, like those are widely available, and there's new organizations that get funding for them every year. Like I've actually used those grants before, and I work in video production. So it's like, if that's technology, then there's definitely a lot of other things that you could get approved for on this. I think it's time to move on.
Speaking of trade missions, so I think this is an excellent transition. So there's this video to the listeners that's not watching the video on YouTube. This is a rave happening inside a bakery in Antwerp, Netherlands, if I'm correct. And then I think this entire phenomena is not only happening in the Netherlands. Look at this video. They're not really drunk or on drugs, but they're having a rave in daytime in a bakery. So I think this entire event structure also happens around like Germany or like other parts of Europe. And it's just like really interesting when I really dissect it psychologically or like as a cultural phenomena, because it makes sense that this is happening because there's a growing trend of less young people drinking alcohol and participating in these club cultures. But then there will always be a rave culture because the entire core of that community is about the music. So that's not going to go away. It doesn't really need alcohol to survive or this like club culture to survive or any like festivals. So this actually brings a lot of possibilities that you can take the rave outside the environments of these clubs or festivals. Taking the rave into a coffee shop is actually interesting to me. And then like I would at least go there once. Then I just thought about, okay, what are some other rave situations, like location or environments that you can bring the raves into? And then when I started to think about all these locations like art galleries or like maybe like a closed down grocery store or like a abandoned building, I start to think about like all the regulations of noise complaints or the local government. If let's say if you're in a municipality or like local government that's like more stringent on having all these noises at night, I'm just like, okay, what is a way around it? And then I remember these things exist for silent disco. On our favorite platform, Alibaba.com. This podcast is not sponsored by Alibaba. These silent disco headphones are being sold for $10 to $20 a piece with the MOQ, minimum order quantity of 100 pieces. That's a pretty approachable starting capital to just like buy these and then to essentially have a portable rave with like 100 attendees to just dance. Once you have this equipment set, you can essentially bring the rave anywhere. Essentially anywhere that can just take some dancing, enough space. The noise doesn't really matter. Maybe like some floor stomping, but to me, that's like still not enough to be like, I don't know, bass blasting in like multiple amplifiers. So then I think this is the business. This could potentially be the business, is to just ride this unexpected rave locations trend and then dispatching these wireless headphones as a service, whether if it's like to the location owners or it could literally be malls for special events. I think you are the dispatch service. Let's say to have like a packaged rave and have these wireless headphones. You're doing it at like $3,000 to $5,000 per pop. And then that is more than enough for you to recoup the initial equipment costs. And then I think also to generate more hype or more demand in this unexpected rave events world, I would probably organize some of my own random raves. Maybe it's like at a random park in daytime or like in local cafes or coffee shops or even bakeries, just like in Europe. Exactly. I would advertise this event on Facebook events. I also do some events when the weather is nice in Toronto as well. I kind of have a little bit of a systematized process. Facebook events is really powerful because they will promote your event on random people's feeds. I think Facebook really wants the platform to be like focused on groups and events and marketplace. So that's the big utility factor of Facebook. If you just like create several events that's just like local, I think Facebook's algorithm will automatically push that into people's timelines. And that's just free impressions. And then also, I would list the events on just local city calendars because like even with the city of Toronto, they have like a public events calendar. And to post on there is free. And then there's several of these local blog publication calendars that you can just freely list your events. So I would probably just find your city government events page and list your events there. That's all free impressions. And also identify a couple local blog article publications online and then see if they have an events calendar. It's probably free to just like list those events.
There's probably also like a SaaS already out there that will blast your event to all of these places as well. And if that doesn't exist, then there we go. That's the third viral idea of the podcast today. Runda, I think this one's crazy because it's actually a guaranteed to go viral thing. I scroll past a coffee rave like probably every few minutes. Like these things are totally popping off. Like there's so much social proof behind this trend. People like raves, but they don't necessarily like doing hard drugs and going out until 6 a.m. So yeah, like of course you've got raves that are happening at coffee shops and it's like at 8 a.m. happening throughout the day. I actually shot a rave like that in January. Like this is just like so becoming a thing. It's getting bigger and bigger. Like these are the best viral ideas because there's just already so much proof that this is going viral. Like I could literally find you 10 videos right now that all have over 1 million organic views on them just from going viral in their own way. And yeah, bro, the feasibility on this one is like top notch. Like I was just looking at rental websites for these silent disco things. It seems like most of them are renting the headsets out for about 25 to 30% of the per cost of the headphone. Like literally think about that. Like you could buy those headphones, and if you're planning on basically renting them out 3 times ever, you'll break even on them. Pairing it with something like this adds so much to it to say like, oh, well, we specialize in putting on the whole rave. Like this is like the actual, like this is an events company. Like it's not just a rental business. You could literally probably make more money on your first event booking than you would off of the purchasing cost of those headphones. So that's insane. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. What's crazy about the underground DJ business is that like these headliner DJs, they come in with a lot of following and they're actually pretty affordable to just book them. Like I'm talking like $800 to $1,000. You can get a pretty solid DJ for a night. And if you think about it at like a event management company perspective, packaging this up, I probably would foresee like a $3,000 to $5,000 package if you include the DJ, all the equipments figured out, and then like along with the headphones.
Yeah. It's team up with like a headliner DJ. It's such an easy way to like inflate the price to whoever you're billing this to. It's like, well, we're getting this DJ who we're actually flying in from Minnesota, and he's like very underground, but like his scene is like really tapped in here. Like we understand why this is expensive, but yeah, definitely a lot of people don't realize like how cheap DJs actually are. And I think there's also like I've heard from DJs before saying to me like, I just got totally overpaid for this event. And then I asked them how much they charged, and I'm like, oh, like that's all that it costs to fly in a DJ from like California? Like not that bad. It's very economical actually. Like if you're just looking to get a draw for your events, like this is the way.
Now I'm actually curious about Sarah's perspective. Sarah, you totally strike me as a raver. Maybe like 1 week out of the entire year and then you're back to normal.
I am not a raver, but I think this is an amazing idea. I see so much opportunity to brand this, like specifically for like if a charity is doing this and they want it to be a reoccurring event or a reoccurring fundraising campaign. There's so much opportunity to make this specific to that charity. Maybe if you're trying to attract a certain community or a certain age bracket, I feel like this would be the way to do it. And I don't think it's a super expensive type of, project to work on in terms of building community and getting people involved and in the know about what a certain charity is doing, or if you're trying to increase brand awareness, that sort of thing. I feel like this is such a cool way to do that. Influencers, celebrities, like there's just so much potential for this to grow into a huge fundraising campaign, to be honest, something that can happen year over year.
Something that just occurred to me in my mind about this idea. If anyone is working at the sick kids hospital and they need a fundraising campaign, just imagine this rave happening and the DJ is doing a drop going like, save the children.
Yeah, and do it in the sick kids hospital. The main thing is you have to be doing it somewhere that's like completely like they've got a room somewhere.
Maybe at the research facility, maybe at the front hall of the research facility when it's like off hours. But yeah,
maybe they got a nice patio somewhere on the roof. Could be pretty nice. I've heard it's a very nice hospital. This is very scalable. Like doing themed raves. There's people who just do this like as like their job. Like this is like their entire hustle is they just do themed raves. For example, this one right here, Broadway rave. This one's interesting to me because it attracts a crowd of like probably average age of like 40 to 60 at these raves. And they're highly successful. I think they're probably doing it in like 20 plus cities. They just had one in Toronto. This has also been done like there's been like a Shrek rave.
That was like literally the rave idea that was on my mind right now. Like a series of Shrek enthusiasts doing a rave.
That is so odd. How does that even...
Absurdity aside, like if you try a theme and that theme works in one city, then odds are you can go to basically every other city in North America and copy paste that and do it over and over again. So like if you're listening to this idea and you're thinking like, okay, that's cool, but like I'm not going to become like a millionaire off of that idea. You just might be able to actually, because this Broadway rave, whoever started that up, I think they're probably a millionaire.
Yeah, when you think about like 7-figure to 8-figure revenue direction, the path would be get so much earned media based on like that themed rave direction. Like for instance, Shrek rave, right? It's the title of that, a Shrek themed rave. It's just like something that all local journalists would write about, that event happening in that city. If you have like one successful Shrek rave happening as one case study and you have photographic evidence and like blog articles just like reviewing how great the Shrek rave is, maybe like you did a special song with Lord Farquhar in it and then you mixed it with the DJ for Shrek. If that story goes viral, just think about like you're essentially just like touring these raves, just managing different sets happening in multiple locations throughout the year. And I guess if you have about 50 of these events going on, that would be the path to 7 figures in revenue easily per year. And in those 50 amount of events doesn't have to be like 50 different cities. It could literally be 20 cities, but happening roughly like 3 times per year.
That's so true. And like really, it's good you bring up the press thing there. Yes, the events get press easily because like press likes talking about events. But press likes talking even more about socially responsible things that for-profit businesses are doing. So this just seems like an infinite flywheel of free press and also just naturally viral videos. And the further you go with this idea, the more it would just naturally accelerate. I think at this point, we should buy some of those headphones and start renting them out. Let's do a rave in a coffee shop.
If any viewer is interested in starting up this Shrek rave, I'm just saying, if I go to GoDaddy right now, it might actually be taken.
Somebody's already made their millions off of that one. So like now it kind of makes you wonder like yo, what's that one video with like this like the spitting cat that goes ooh yeah ooh yeah like there's gonna be like raves for that.
Dora rave. Imagine Dora backpack and boots just in visual. That's
yes.
Just like
That's a great IP to choose. Great.
I wonder if SpongeBob Rave is a thing.
My God.
That's insane. SpongeBobRave.com is available right now. I might just buy that.
Just get the SpongeBobRave.com and just do one event in collaboration with any charity you want. It's just like the last idea. Do a pilot project. Like, just do one at your own expense and do it for the benefit of some other charity. Just like see if it's successful. See if you can get a case study to write there, put a little deck together, and then be like, okay, well, like, let's do this for real now and start doing your cold emails to all 500 top charities that are perfectly aligned with what you're looking for and work your way down from there.
Yes. And then maybe you'll also get a phone call from Nickelodeon, either from their lawyers or from their marketing managers.
Yeah, just ask really nicely for them not to sue. And maybe they'll collab with you on events.
Speaking of being socially responsible, Sarah, what have you got today?
Okay, everybody hates ads. Okay, when you're watching YouTube videos, for example, and this idea is to basically donate to Skip. So instead of the premium YouTube subscription or skipping the ad and then it doesn't really do much, in this case, YouTube would partner with a nonprofit organization. What would happen is that you would donate a small amount to charity to be able to skip the ad. And then once you skip the ad, a little message pops up. So it says, this ad was skipped thanks to a donation to X charity. Okay. Obviously, the caveat here would be that YouTube would have to sign up to this or agree to this partnership. So there would have to be something in it for them. It could be good PR. It could be a portion of the proceeds. So obviously that would need to be worked out with the charity partner. But there's two ways that this could happen. So it could be a brand partnership. So companies, like we just said, business to business. So it's maybe YouTube working directly with a charity partner. Or it could be a subscription model that's put out for users. So as a user, you could subscribe to this and then it's a monthly micro donation. So let's say $5 a month, and then you'd never be seeing an ad again. And that $5 would be going directly to a specific charity or a specific project that you are passionate about. Maybe it's a water project or a food donation project, that sort of thing. And then imagine the impact that this would have. YouTube is a huge platform. So we're talking $5 per user. This would be something that could be really big.
I think that's like your caveat about how like the partnership like might not work out with YouTube. That's pretty valid. Like it would be hard to like guarantee that. But we live in a world today where software and products is very much a commodity. Obviously you can't just like imagine something and build it in a split second, build your own YouTube. That's, but also like, hey, like, why not build your own YouTube? YouTube says no, maybe. There's probably like 5 other B, C tier video platforms that you could propose this to. Maybe one of them is interested in it because they're seeing it as like, oh yeah, like we could actually really boost anything to like help us get press right now because they're actually looking for a play to like stand out more. I don't know really that many YouTube alternatives. I know that that's like a very monopolistic thing. Like they pretty much like own that corner. There's a lot of people on the internet who are looking for YouTube alternatives. So like this could actually be, in my opinion, base idea for just your own YouTube platform. I'm actually really curious about like how much it would actually cost to build like your own YouTube. It would really just be the hosting costs that you're managing, which I'm honestly not experienced with. But like, I don't see why. Like, why don't you just make your own YouTube and then make it like brand it around this and like make that the entire selling point to answer the questions for creators of like, why should you like join this platform? It's like, well, this is an actually socially responsible platform. Not only do the ad dollars like make money for you, and that maybe 40% of the ad dollars is going to a certain group of charities or something like that. But then also that like premium subscription that you're talking about, that's where you could bring in the opportunity for the user to either watch the ad or hit skip, and then they are just directly donating 25 cents or whatever it would be from their subscription to skip the ad. Probably give people a different perspective on watching the ads too, because I mean, so many people, like you're saying, just blindly hate advertising for no reason. There's obviously a lot of people who just think like advertising is like theft or scamming people or something like that, when like obviously it's not, but like you can't just like convince people on that. So maybe this is the thing that could actually like give people a different perspective, and it might signal even to advertisers like, hey, our viewers, when they watch advertisements on our platform, they're actually more engaged because they are thinking more consciously about if they want to watch that ad or not, because they're actually very incentivized to not watch it. If they don't watch it, well, you don't pay. And if they do watch it, well, you know they actually really wanted to watch. So there's great value around the board for this. And yeah, who knows? Maybe this could be that answer to everyone looking for an alternative to YouTube.
As I'm just like looking at some competitive analysis, I'm seeing that ad block within their like premium yearly subscription is $50 per year. So that's probably the benchmark of the price point of this kind of like skip ad service. And when I think about it, okay, what is the benefit of this coming at from a charity on this entire program? I think it like might work out for adult entertainment websites, but I'm not sure if like there's that many charities that would want to associate with that industry. But
that won't work though, because incognito mode turns off the Chrome extensions. So
yeah, that's right. When I think about like this coming from a charity angle is you might be able to issue tax credits as a charitable organization. Looking at Grok without like researching too deep of these specifics, it seems like all you really need to do is just figure out if the person that's donating or some kind of information on the people who are donating, and then having them to fill out a certain amount of information to be able to issue these tax credits. So I think that would be the added benefit to this skip ad feature to come from a charity and go, oh, you're saying that I'm paying $50. I think I would even pay $100 for that extra tax credit. Or in some cases, I might even just like pay what I can. So maybe I just like need a bigger tax break, and I get this like functional feature of like skipping ads. That sounds like a huge beneficial sale to me to get that feature and subscribe. Adblock is not a charitable organization. I'm not getting a tax credit, but in the market, they're taking $50 per year annually from a user. I think that would be a huge angle to go into that charity subscription.
At first, this seemed not feasible to me, but now I realize that if you just approach this from the point of view, like there's so many different angles of attack. There are like 3 different ways that you could tackle this, all at varying budgets and skill level. So like this actually has a ton of potential. I would say, guys, this has been a great episode. Like we've all come in with some like really good ideas. Can't believe we're giving them away to people for free like this. But yeah, guys, this is all the time that we have today. Thank you, Sarah, for joining us.
Thank you.
And yeah, guys, keep on listening.
And please email me if you see that SpongeBobRave.com does not exist. It means I own the URL now.
Yeah. If you need to buy that domain, like, yeah, just hit us up.
I'm just like so sorry to tell you that I own it now.
Yeah, one day we're actually going to have a website where we'll just literally physically sell the domain the domain and the business plan for every single idea that we do on the podcast. Maybe we just need a little more audience, and then we can do that. Thank you everybody for tuning in once again. And yeah, that's it. Have a good one, guys.